Hey everyone, I'm Victor Dwyer, and this is the Failures and Wins podcast, where we get the latest founders, the latest people. We talk about their failures, their weaknesses, and how they navigated it and how they kind of solved those issues. And then we're also going to dive into some economic growth and really how to progress spiritually and to have that freedom that we all desire at the end of the day. Conrad, thank you so much for joining. Please tell us how you got started into all this, and give us an intro of really who you are. Thank you so much for coming on.
Well, thank you, Victor, for having me, first of all, and I appreciate everyone who's listening, their time and their energy, and I hope I can inspire and give a little bit of what I went through, and hopefully that could help you in your journey.
Yeah. How did you, what do you do, and how did you get started in all this?
Oh man, that question, like, what do I do, is like a loaded question, because every time people ask me, I have to close my eyes and kind of run through all of the things. But um, I have many hats, and people may argue and say that you should focus on one thing, and there is truth to that, for me. But I was listening to this podcast. I think it was the Full Send podcast, and Shaq was on there, and he's talking about he does so many things, and he had this quote, and it resonated with me a lot when he said, and it's not word for word, but he said, you can run and see one, or you can walk and see many. And I took that, and it really resonated with me, because I have my hands on a few things, from music to real estate to merchandising and brand development. So uh, yeah, that's kind of a few of the things that I do. I can get deeper into some of those specifically later on, but my journey was just, I grew up in Mississauga, a city outside. It's part of the GTA in Toronto, Canada. I did a lot of traveling. Moved to different parts of the city, and during that, I figured certain things out. I realized at a very young age that I didn't want to work for nobody. I wanted to be self-sustainable and create opportunities for other people. To be of service is the main key, to my mantra in life, is to live in the key of life, and by doing that, you have to be of service. So about 15 years ago, I have a company. No, maybe actually longer than that. Maybe 20 years ago, I started.
Uh-oh. There we go. We lost your audio. We lost your audio. Conrad, can you hear us? Conrad? Conrad. 1 second. Technical difficulties. 1 second.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you can hear me.
Yep, we can hear you. There we go.
Okay.
Perfect. Awesome. We got it.
Um,
We got it. So yes, you
perfect.
were basically on the part
Where was
where you said you've been doing something for about 20 years,
20
and then after that you cut
years?
off. Yes. So
Yeah.
please
So
go into whatever
now. So
20 years.
SG Inc.
Yeah.
SG Inc. was the record label we started about 20 years ago. Ventured off into many different things. I'm still growing right now. My passion was always music, and I always say to people that where to begin, and I think that the best most that is, what are your passions? What are you passionate about? What makes you happy every. If you don't know what that is, I say you need to get connected with yourself to really listen to your intuitive self, your intuition, and it will always guide you. During that journey, I got into a car accident, a severe car accident, but I walked away from it. And I remember looking at the car at the wreck shop where they towed the cars, and how anyone walked away from that. And I walked away. I had some health things I had to work. Long story short, I got a little settlement from that, and it wasn't much. I was working security for this film company. My boy Sean Travers, and I was working on film sets, and I just got this little money. And comes to me, he goes, so and so has this company. You should go. You should get a truck or lease a truck, whatever, and go work for him. I'm like, what are you people who pick up the garbage after they film? And I kind of just let it sit for a while, but it was always nagging at me, like, look into that. One day I'm picking up my check, and I had a relationship with some of the location managers. Thinking about John Rackage, shout out to John Rackage. I'm thinking of doing this business, and he's like, you should do it. And I go, how to charge, whatever. And he's like, I have one of his invoices right here. So I looked at the invoice, and I'm like, for a month? He's like, no, this is a week. And I'm like, he did this in a week? And I started doing the math, and I'm like, okay. The next day I bought a truck, and
wow.
I knew no one had started making phone calls. Fortunately, my friend who made some contacts through his relationships and gave me a shot. I built it up to where it is now, where I have employees working around the city, picking up garbage, and I use that to kind of fund and start my other businesses. And that's kind of beginning of the man you see in front of you right now.
That's amazing. And you're so right about when it comes to like the passions. Like Jason Silva said it's the best about curiosity is just multiple streams, or passion is just multiple streams of curiosity. So these natural inclinations of what makes you, like it's like these curiosities were built in you for a reason. And if you find a way to mesh all these curiosities that you're naturally built upon, then that turns into a passion over time.
Yeah.
But you have to dive into those curiosity, because the more you learn about it, the more you fall into a rabbit hole to kind of learn why that curiosity is there. For example, I love how the brain works. That is my passion, and that's how I got into marketing. Like if I give you an ad with a blue banner, an ad with an orange banner, you're gonna pick the orange banner, and that's what's fascinating to me as a marketer. I'm learning how the human brain works, and that's that. I turned my curiosity into a passion, and by doing what I love every single day, by learning the human brain in marketing. So that it's really important to find what you're curious about.
To me, yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. And what you said, like just understanding how there's certain things that in marketing and in branding and life, where if one of the scenes I love from The Matrix, and Neo's walking in to go see the Oracle, and it says know thyself, right? And that may go past a lot of. Why did they focus on that? Why are they pan to that? There's some sort of importance, and it's really like the foundation of anything you build upon is, and knowing who you are doesn't mean you have to know every aspect. Just has an understanding of yourself and how do you operate. How did nature use that design in order to live up to your highest potentiality?
Yeah, 100%. And like, it's also important to realize that we are programmed. Like, if we were just to, like, the human brain is not programmed. Like, we're not programmed to be happy. That's something that we have to identify within ourselves and work toward, because for example, when we were caveman, we are the descendants of the most anxious and paranoid caveman. The ones that were afraid of everything were the ones that lived, and we are the descendants of those people. So we have to basically conquer our automations, that within our brain, to make us paranoid about the future, to make us anxious, and basically push towards happiness. It's something that we have to work toward and conquer. It's we have to conquer it. It's something that we have to work toward, and that's why there are so many people that are unhappy. They're just working off that automation within their brain, and they're not conquering these certain levels within the brain that you have to like unlock to really be happy on a daily basis.
I'll pose a different, an alternative perspective to what you just said. What if we are born happy? Happiness is a state of being. Every being here has come into this, and what I mean by that, they're untainted by programming outside, and in order to move distortion, right? And we might be perceiving this distortion as, but that what you've attached to that as it being unpleasant is a perspective. It might be unpleasant for the moment, but I believe at every moment, the universe, whatever you want to label it as, pointing you and giving you resistance in order that you need to move forward, because we create a lot of stagnancy in ourselves. We operate most of the time from a lower vibration, and if you want to move anything, you need to raise your vibration, and that's how you're going to break through these different levels, and I think we're all here to experience that.
True. What would you say is the most important thing that people should be doing either on a daily basis, or that was the biggest unlock to you when it comes to happiness and progressing yourself? What was the biggest unlock for you that got you to that state of mind?
Good question. I don't think it was one thing. I think it was a series of events continuously occur, but it was the realization. I came to this by just observing nature and repetition. Everything in nature is repetitive, and in order to create anything, certain things need to happen continuously. And if I procrastinate, if I'm a natural procrastinator, and is just pretty much the lack of movement. So I'm conscious. So what do I break that program? And I need to I need to move. I need to act continuously. Now you're rewiring these neural pathways in your brain, and you're creating new opportunities from creating these pathways. It's no different than you come into a fork left. If you go left opposed to right, there's going to be different opportunities there, a different experience that in your mind through repetition. And that was what the biggest thing I've learned is, in order to create new habits, you need to do things consistently.
True. I totally agree with that. And when it comes to economic growth, and how to grow like spiritually and just grow in general to eventually get to economic growth, what are your insights there?
Yeah. Well, economics, money. These are fruits of your labor, or fruits of your actions. So in order to, you need to put in the work, and a lot of times as well, overthinking things when opportunities come your way or ideas come your way. Have the means and the resources to act now, but you find ways to stop that movement, and that's the biggest thing. You just have to action, and and bypass the fears. The fears are going to come because it's a true story. After doing some really certain things I wasn't getting, I'm like, why isn't this? I'm doing this, and I realized that to a certain extent, I had a fear. I was afraid to succeed. Why? Because I attached all of this stuff, whether it's partying or losing yourself, or and having your freedom of just people know you, and I felt uncomfortable with that. And then I realized that it's just myself. So I'm from here, my fear of all those things I just stated, taking further action in order for me to get to my desired destination. That was the biggest thing, is just really just kind of a self-assessment of yourself. Spirituality and economics, these are all interwoven. They don't, spirituality, we're all just the spirit within us all. So how can you send spirituality and all these things when you're the one who's experiencing it, and there's no separation between the two. When you work on healthy mindset, when you really work on creating a healthy mindset, all of these things just naturally follow. If you have direction, and a good team of people around you, and wherever your weakness is in place in order to facilitate, and what you're not good at, but pay attention. Like, you really got to pay attention, and don't have an understanding of the processes in your business and your success, but you don't have to master them all. You have to hate them all and oversee them.
Yeah, 100%. And what would you say anyone trying to find a job that they're passionate about to reach economic freedom? Like, is it exploring the curiosities? Like, what would you say would be the best path for someone that's looking? There's so many people, like everyone, it's crazy because we spend 40% of people's, most people spend 40% of their life doing a job they hate. So, they shouldn't be spending that much time toward of their life. Life is so short, and they spend just so many things at a job they hate, which doesn't make sense. So what would you say to someone trying to find that job that makes them happy, makes them feel like they're progressing? What would you say to someone like that to reach economic freedom?
I think that question kind of ties into what I said earlier. Is your passion is it's showing you a direction. right? And I believe you should start there, because I have people work jobs that they're unhappy about. I really do, because we've been taught, we've been indoctrinated into this in which we trade time for money. We're, we're, we're taught that, and economic growth, and how to even balance, checkbooks, and these things are not even taught, know,
Yeah.
in most schools. The onus is on us to seek out the information first, and have a desire to want. Some people want to change, but you can't escape action. You have to go out and do something different than what you're doing now.
Yep.
And it's a risk. Is at risk by just taking the time to, come up with an idea, researching it, take some money. If you have no money, there's ways to name out with $0 and take action. You have to take it. Happy in your job. Don't be bad. Don't harp on yourself and say, no, man. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All of these experiences led me here. Now, if I want to change the course of my life, same thing I was doing before, I'm going to be here 2 years from now. Just, you're okay with that? Okay, take it. But if not, then you need to do something different. And that's really, and use your passion as your navigational instruction palette of where to start, because it's showing you this, and then all the opportunities. If you focus your energy on that's just that's not expand. That's just science. That's physics. So if you have an idea, you focus on it, it will expand naturally.
True. Yeah, that's really important to know. And also, is there anything else that has been top of mind of something that you've been wanting to communicate that's been either helpful to you, or things that you see that a lot of people are doing and should be pushing towards something else? What has been something that you've been really wanting to communicate? Is there anything like that out there that you would been wanting to push out to the world?
Yeah. Yes, and it's something that I said. I'm kind of keep on going back to this, is because it is a nation of limitlessness, and it's knowing yourself. Really know yourself. The limitations that you experience in life are on yourself. You place them on yourself by not knowing what you're able to do. Spiritual or into any religion stuff. Most people believe that there's a creator, there's a being that created everything, and that is of little importance here. It is that there's a common concept that we all come from, that no limitation created everything. So that ability of the creator is in creates. You just can't escape that. If I have a pie into 10 pieces, I take a piece out, it still has the same ingredients, right? So if the whole is limitless, that means limitless too. And
True.
you just need to get those blockages out of your way, and acknowledge them and let them go and move. Letting things go is I think the most profound here right now. Is just learning to let things go.
True.
Mentally,
And forgiving.
physically. Exactly.
Go ahead. Yeah.
That's
Forgiveness is hard.
Pretty much what I was. It's hard. It's challenging. 100% is challenging. But when you forgive, go with it. You know, when you forgive something, you're releasing ties to that. Imagine if human beings were to have physical weight that's with all of the mental weight baggage that they carry, and you have to. So every thought would be, everything that you're holding on to would be 10 pounds. Imagine carrying another. Most people have a lot of shit. Excuse my language.
Yeah.
And you physically have to carry that, for the rest of your life. That's wearing. It will physically wear on you, and that's what these mental, not being able to forgive, and they're really holding you back, because it's a lot of weight you're carrying. So, and trust your process, but have the intent to reach that point where you're letting things go, and you just
100%. And that's all we have time for today. But tell Conrad, please tell them how to find you, if they want to contact you, if they have any other questions. Just tell the audience, please, how to find you.
Absolutely. Say Instagram, IG is SG _Inc, INK, SG INK. YouTube, if you put in PS, you can have a link and see all of my music, all the stuff that I do there as well. And it's Conrad McRae, CONRAD MCRAE. You can check some of our products at I have a company called The Beard Hood. We make all natural men's personal SG. Sorry, not SG. TheBeardHoodInc.com. TheBeardHood.com, and you can see some of our products that we have there as well.
Cool. Yeah, thank you so much for joining today. And this is the Failures and Wins podcast. Thank you everyone for watching. That's it. Thank you,
Victor. I appreciate the time, brother. Thank you.